Hello, this is Dami, and this is Ask Dami. It's the place where you receive practical answers to life's complex questions, and it's episode 8. Fantastic. Now, if you've missed any of the first 7 episodes, not to worry. You can go to YouTube and look for our channel on YouTube. It's Dreamstream TV. That is one word, DREAMSTREAM TV, and you can go through the archives and look for the earlier episodes. Now, the other thing I'd like to mention at the beginning of this episode is sometimes the episodes might not be addressing the issues you're dealing with right now, but it's the way it is in life that many times our dietary requirements vary from season to season. Our nutritional requirements may vary, but you'll do well to just listen in, and if this does not resonate with you, you can send the link to a friend who's dealing with that issue now, or just keep that somewhere and you find it useful at a future time, at a later time. So on to this week's question. This person sends in a question and prefers to remain anonymous. It says, what do you do when someone you admire, respect, and consider a role model turns around to become a thorn in your flesh and a betrayer? What do you do when someone you respect, someone you love, someone you admire, someone you trust, perhaps someone you have put on a pedestal of significance and supremacy turns around and attacks you or does something you don't like? I want to believe that everybody who's old enough to listen to this and to understand it by processing the information we're sharing has at one time or the other faced this issue, dealt with this challenge where someone that you really loved and adored and respected betrayed you. Could have been a boss, a colleague, a pastor, a leader, a mentor, a partner, a wife, a husband. So what do you do? Now, I'll tell you what, from my own experiences, the truth is, no matter how strong you are, no matter how spiritual you are, no matter how mentally astute or scholastic you are in terms of your knowledge base and your exposure and your experience in life, betrayal hurts. Betrayal hurts. Now, to not think betrayal hurts is to not have been betrayed before, for it to not have been betrayal, but get it right, betrayal hurts. And at different times in your life, you will be hurt. If you choose to love, if you choose to give of yourself, if you choose to open up your heart, you will get hurt at some point in time. So how do you deal with that? How do you deal with betrayal? How do you deal with broken trust? How do you manage a situation where someone who should know better, for goodness sakes, does something that you consider hurtful and painful? I've realized that there are 3 ways that you can handle betrayal. Now, don't get it wrong. I'm not saying there are only 3 ways, but I'm saying that there are 3 possible ways. Now, the first way is you can live in denial and go like, oh, well, it didn't really happen. It's like you being in a relationship where your partner cheats on you and you're like, well, it didn't really happen. You live in denial, and that's like what the ostrich does. The ostrich is a significant bird. You can read up on it. If you don't know what an ostrich is online, you could Google it. But one of the things the ostrich does, according to the popular stories, is that the ostrich hides its head in the sand when it sees an opponent, and because, or when it sees a predator, and because it doesn't see the predator, it believes or assumes or likes to think that the predator isn't seeing it, and that's what many of us do when we live in denial, where we've been hurt, we've been upset and disappointed, and instead of addressing the issue and dealing with the problem, we hide and we act as if it never happened. Now, the challenge with living in denial is that it can backfire. It can also lead to a place of implosion when you don't allow yourself to take advantage of the explosion. In simpler terms, this is what I mean. If something happens, something goes wrong, You're not honest enough to talk about it. You're not vulnerable enough to address it. You're not bold enough to unravel the complications around, and you just act like, okay, well, it never happened. Let's just bury it, sweep it under the carpet, and move on with our lives. It will begin to foster resentment and bitterness and uncertainty deep within your heart and deep within your soul, and it might grow into a cancer, burgeon into some kind of mental malady or psychological disorder. As a matter of fact, many people who have dealt with issues pertaining to a nervous breakdown are people who never addressed issues, who never confronted the challenges of their lives. I'm not saying that's the case in every scenario, but oftentimes that happens. Now, the second way to handle betrayal is to accept that it happened, believe that it happened, and then revenge, pay back. Tell the person, I'm not a fool. Pay the person back. So let's use that example I used earlier about your spouse cheating on you, and you revenge by cheating on him or cheating on her. Your spouse speaking hurtful words, and then you speak hurtful words. Your boss disrespecting you, and then you should change him by not giving your best to the work, the duties, and the responsibilities. Revenge. And I think that most people told this line, the line of revenge, where they just pay back. They're like, well, you hurt me, I hurt you. It's a dog-eat-dog world. The whole eye for an eye, tooth for a tooth thing. And understand that an eye for an eye never makes you see clearer. An eye for an eye will only make the whole world blind. Because if someone hurts you and you hurt the person back, then someone hurts you and you hurt the person back, and someone hurts you and you hurt the person back, it becomes a vicious cycle that leads into destruction, damnation, and destitution for every party involved. But the third way to deal with betrayal is the toughest way, perhaps the most difficult way, and that is to forgive. Now, in the case of the person who sent in the question, this episode, you're like, I respected this person, I honor this person, I value this person, I celebrate this person, but the person has breached my trust and disappointed me and has become a thorn in my flesh. Well, let me help you by saying that the best of men is still a man, even at his best. I'll say it again. The best of men is still a man, even at his best. So understand that the person might be Bishop so-and-so, or Reverend Doctor, Prophet, Apostle, Evangelist, XYZ, or Professor Doctor, whatever. I mean, no disrespect to title holders and leaders, but the person might be the most sacred and sacrosanct individual you've met, but the person is a man. So realize that the person has flaws, has tendencies, has proclivities that he might be struggling with, that he might never even have admitted, or he might still be trusting God to work on. So understand that when people fail you, what you can do really is to forgive. Now, when you forgive, you're not only setting the person free, you're also setting your own soul free, because unforgiveness will lead into a whole lot of trouble. And Jesus, when he taught us to pray, said, forgive us as we forgive those who trespass against us. In fact, Jesus teaching one time said that if you know you're in church or in the house of God and you have a gift, you want to present a gift to God, and you remember that your brother has something against you. Now notice, he's not saying you have something against your brother. He says if you know that your brother has something against you, before you present your gift, before you pay your tithe or give your offering or honor your pastor, before you do that, you need to go back and make peace with that person. Now understand, the first sermon of Jesus, the Sermon on the Mount, about the Beatitudes, and I touched on that a few episodes ago. He said, blessed are the peacemakers, for they shall be called the sons of God. Now many people read the scripture and they never really observe what it says. It said, blessed are the peacemakers, those who make peace. So sometimes peace does not occur by itself. Somebody has to make it. So in the case where you've been disappointed, forgive the person. It does not mean that your relationship will be as smooth as it was, because of course when trust has been broken, you will have to give it some time. You will have to give the person the benefit of rebuilding trust. You have to give them the opportunity to discipline themselves, to recognize that they've gone wrong, and to begin to trace the right path, the right way. So if you can do this, I believe you get ahead. More practical things you can do is to let the person know that they hurt you, that they've disappointed you in a way or the other, but do that politely and respectfully, and do that with a sense of love. In closing, I want to say this. As God begins to help you to grow and to mature, you will get to a level where your recovery time will be shorter. What do I mean? There could be a time in your life where somebody said something foul to you or upset you, and it took you 3 weeks to get over it. But as you begin to open your heart to the person of the Holy Spirit, and you trust God to lead you, to guide you, to teach you, the love of God, according to Romans chapter 5 verse 5, has been shed abroad in your heart. That same love will find expression. That same love will flow freely to heal other people and to help them mature into all that God has for them. I hope that you found this helpful. If you have comments, questions, you know where we can meet. On Twitter, I'm Damilola Online. On Facebook, you can like my page at Damilola Oluwatoyinbo, and on YouTube, go through our episodes on Dreamstream TV. I love to read your comments. I love to receive more questions. Please send us links to your friends, the social network, and let's get the word out, because you are the solution to somebody's problem. You are the answer to somebody's question. So go out there in love and make a difference, because the world is waiting for you.